Hello folks, Off-Grid Gary. Today we made artisan bread. I started my recipe out last night. You can see I made my bread first thing this morning. This bread is still very warm. I made 3 loaves. This recipe actually calls for, this recipe makes 6 loaves of bread. Now you can make 6 loaves of bread in these little cast iron pans. That's what I make these in. Or you can get the 2 gallon. Let me show you my big one. And I have this big one here. It's got legs on it. It will fit in your oven. So you're either going to make 6 loaves of bread in this, or you're going to make 3 loaves in the big one. So what I did today, everybody's been wanting to basically know what my recipe is. And I'm going to read it off to you so you have it. This is for cast iron artisan bread. Now I have changed the recipe up from the original recipe. And to start this thing out, you preheat your oven at 450 degrees with your cast iron in there to get it hot. And our dry ingredients is 2 tablespoons of salt, 2 tablespoons of yeast, 18 cups of flour. And then you're going to mix all the dry ingredients together. And then you're going to add 9 cups of very warm water, mix it together, cover tightly with a towel for 8 to 24 hours. That is the recipe. But what we do to make it a little different is we actually make it with, I also put 2 tablespoons of Italian seasoning, garlic powder, and onion powder. This changes the bread up incredible. These loaves of bread, of course everybody knows I smoke cheese. So generally what we do is we'll cut this up, put a little butter on it, put some smoked cheese on it, we'll put it in a wood stove on the oven side, just let it toast for 15-20 minutes. The best you'll ever eat, no joke. But today we're going to do something a little different. We actually have dough left to do 3 more of these loaves. I'm going to roll that dough out and I'm going to stuff it with onions, sauteed onions, mushrooms, and some onions from the garden. Some onions aren't from the garden, but onion tops from the garden. We got mushrooms, we got hamburger, and I got a load of cheese. We're going to stuff a loaf of bread up, roll it up, and then we're going to bake it on a rock. I got a flat stone in my oven we're going to bake it on. And we're going to see how this turns out. So bear with me and we'll get started on it. And actually my bread, my dough, is actually in my warming tray on my oven. So it's been doing really good. This bread has really came up in size. And this is our dough. What I'm going to do, I got some flour earlier from this morning, well, just from a little while ago. This was some leftover flour I had for mixing so I wouldn't get my hands all sticky. And I found it works really good to put a little olive oil on your hands. That way you can, your dough won't stick to your hands as bad. Because this dough gets very, very, very sticky. Like I say, with a little bit of flour or oil, it seems to do pretty decent. So we're going to try to knead this thing out a little bit, and then we're going to flatten it out. Like so. Let me get another piece of parchment paper. My wife likes it when I use this because it's a lot less mess. Not that I'm saying I'm messy, but you know how it goes. And what I want to do is kind of stretch it out wide like a pizza crust. This won't necessarily be a loaf shape per se, but all I'm going to do is stuff it. I've never made this before, so if it burns and looks like crap when it's done, it'll be my fault. So, well, I want to stretch this out as much as I can because, like I said, I want it to be something we have for dinner later. It's going to want it to be very tasty. Either way, the flavor should be good. And if I'm doing something wrong, I'm sure somebody can comment on it and let me know if I'm doing it a little bit wrong. But, and by the way, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. We are on Patreon. We are on, I'm also on Telegram now. I just opened an account up there. There's lots of great off-grid pages and people on there as well to meet. And I'm still on Facebook Messenger, but I'm looking into, over time, hopefully getting rid of Facebook Messenger, because there's so many other well-quality apps that are a lot better than Facebook. I'm not much for somebody telling me what I can say and can't say. Last time I checked, this was still a free country, so. But I got it rolled out kind of flat, and let me go in my pantry and get me some get some sauce I can use right here. That's right here. Ignore my mess. And like I say, it's the first time I've done anything like this. I did my bread and it's come out good. I've done the bread many times now. And those of y'all who know me, you probably see my cheese and my bread almost all the time. But this is just kind of what I'm doing for today. I want to try something a little bit different. And kind of what we did today. What I have here, I have some just hamburger I ground up. Not grind up, fried up, cooked up. Then in here I got my onion tops, onions, mushrooms, and onions. And some other seasonings. What I'm going to do is be mixing most of those all together. And should be pretty yummy. Like I said, I just finished cooking all this up in the past few minutes before I turn my camera on. Give it time to cool a little bit. And of course, pretty much everything we cook, I love cast iron. Cook anything in cast iron. Like I say, even my bread is cooked in cast iron, so yeah, and this looks like it could be pretty tasty. Now let's see if it all fits. Like I say, this stuff will expand a little bit, the dough. It'll rise some more while it cooks. So hopefully it'll do like it's supposed to do. Or hopefully it'll do like it's what I'm wanting it to do anyway. those of y'all who know me know I love cheese. So anytime you got meat and cheese. Unfortunately today there's not going to be any smoked cheese going in because I don't have any. I haven't smoked any lately, so it's not ready yet that way. So okay. Let me see, where did I put my cheese at? And this is just this is a 4 cheese blend. It's a Mexican blend, I guess. And by the way, that is 8 ounces of cheese. Tell you what, the smell of this is really, really good. I am not going to lie. I'm going to preheat my oven. And I'm actually going to start this at the same temperature I start my bread at. I always start my bread at 450. And I bake it at 450. I don't know if this will work at 450, but I'll just have to keep an eye on it. I'm going to see if my camera, I'm doing this from my phone, so I'm going to see if my camera will pause for that long. I don't know if it will, but if it doesn't, I promise you I'll do another video on it if I have a problem. So, well, I got a little tear there, wouldn't you know? Well, let's try this. See if this will work. Try it anyway. Like this. Not going to be perfect, but it should be tasty if nothing else. So. Side's doing pretty good, actually. I can keep this side doing it. It may work out pretty good. I do have a little rip in it, but can't really help that. This dough I found out is pretty forgiving. In most cases it will kind of reach over. This is a pretty good sized stuffed loaf of bread, so we're going to see what happens. The hard part's going to probably be picking it up, trying to set it in the oven, my guess. And we go from there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the camera for a minute so I can figure out how to pick this thing up, and I'll set it in the oven and we'll be back in just a few minutes. I had to do a slight correction. My oven stone wasn't big enough to put this in. So what I got here is an oval shaped cast iron pan. It's a big one. You can kind of see the shape of it with the handles. And I'm going to bake it in this and see how it turns out. Hang on.